When you think of a definition of a word such as the worst, especially within the context of TF2, you'd expect to hear the weakest weapon, the most deplorable weapon, the most utter garbage and useless weapon. So you would probably expect me to say something such as the Phlogistinator or the Backburner, to which I completely disagree. I personally believe that the worst Pyro primary is the Dragon's Fury. Now, I hear you all, it's not because it turns Pyro from a dead man walk into an actual skill-based class, it's because of the raw damage that completely puts all the other flamethrowers to shame, to me, comparing this weird hybrid child of the rocket launcher and the Machina, the Machina, to the stock flamethrower is like comparing the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol to the Mad Milk, or hell, the Sydney Sleeper to the sniper rifle. They both get the job done at the end of the day. However, one is more effective at their job. The Dragon's Fury is designed to be a more aggressive, combat-oriented weapon that rewards Pyro for using the forbidden technique, the dark arts of aiming. It rewards the Pyro by enhancing the damage that's done to the target by around 300%. Yeah, if that's not bad enough. It also has the added bonus of penetrating through players harder than when the mailman penetrated your mum, yet people still want to rag on the flog for being overpowered due to it being brain dead. But, as I say, brain dead actions are predictable. Regardless, if you are close enough to be in the reach of a flog pyro, you are certainly in reach for a Dragon Fury's pyro. So it doesn't make sense to me that the Dragon's Fury doesn't get that much attention to how powerful it can be when it can mow down a hard to take foes such as a heavy medic combo or an engineer behind his sentry nest. This is without crits, mind you. On top of this, the Dragon's Fury can still reflect projectiles, hence still being able to shut down classes such as Soldier and Demo, and to also point your sad excuse of a middle finger at Uber pushers. Granted, you have to time your air blasts more efficiently, but if you are having to constantly hold down the M2 button, just as you're a brainless MW1 player, I doubt that you'd get very far in playing the class in the first place. Further stacking on why the Dragon's Fury is quite broken in game balance, it dominates in Pyro vs Pyro. This is because it no longer becomes an overrated pissing match between the two sides, and it becomes a contest on who can hurl the most small pebbles at the opponent's sternum. Due to the Dragon's Fury not being as utilized as something as the Flog, it would be quite easy to win this situation unless the good old reliable lead slugger is by your side. This brings me to my next point. Since the Dragon's Fury dominates Pyro vs Pyro, the shotgun on the way becomes obsolete, as that was the main way to dealing with enemy Pyros in the first place. This allows for the unethical practice of different flare gun combinations with this already devilish weapon forged from hell. Not just any hell, the special kind of hell. Do you want to know what I find hilarious though? The closest thing we have to the Dragon's Fury for any other class as a whole weapon would be the Bison. This beauty of a design from Weta Workshop is comparable to the Dragon's Fury because it's a non-reflectable projectile, also classified as a flame particle in the code for some reason, that can penetrate players, potentially causing immense damage.
Well, Trubbs, you have one issue with that, you see. The Dragon Fury, while it can actually be reflected, the time it's very strict just because of how, well, fast it fires, but it can be reflected. I've been killed by my own reflected Dragon Fury blasters, so, that's one thing you're not so cracked about, mate, so, yeah.
Except even that isn't right. In TF2's code, the projectile of the Dragon's Fury is a modified rocket. You heard me, a modified rocket. Therefore, it can be reflected, or hell, even destroyed by engineers. Yep, the fireball that can penetrate players can be destroyed by electricity or reflected by compression blasts. This is the same game where shooting at a fire extinguisher doesn't release foam. The same game where throwing pee at someone has more versatility than an actual gasoline. You've been able to set on fire in shallow water, unable to crash to put it out, yet still be considered wet to be critted by the Neon Annihilator. Figures. At times, these game mechanics feel to be the equivalent of a boss fight, but he has a third stage, 4th bonus stage, a 5th stage resurrected by his twin cousin, and a 6th stage because he has a bonus Hocus Pocus magic spell that activates to prevent him from dying at the exact same time you struck the final blow on him, calculated from the very beginning of the story. Now, is the Dragon's Fury fun to use? Well, a pyro weapon it is indeed. If there was a strange variant, then I'd be using that, and only that for pyro, but there isn't, so I won't. Yeah, I'm that kind of guy who only uses strangers that are somewhat cheap. While it may provide a fresh playstyle towards Pyro, it's still Pyro at the end of the day. As I mentioned before, it's a flamethrower, and I put that in heavy quotations, that does its job a lot better than any other flamethrower could accomplish, in terms of raw damage. Remember the saying, the jack of all trades, the master of none? Yeah, that was what Pyro was meant to be, so how about instead of that, the queen of all deals, master of slightly more than none?